Did you know we're starting a convention? That's right. This September 23rd through 25th in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, we're running the Nerd and Tie Expo at the Plaza Hotel and Suites. You could meet us, you could meet cool, interesting people, you could have fun, have a good time, be with friends, come on, be good person. Tickets are limited to only 1,000 people, and you should totally come, because it'll be great.
On this episode of Nerd and Tie, Captain America Civil War has crossed the $9 million mark worldwide. Agent Carter gets the axe. Supergirl is saved but is moving to the CW. We cover a couple convention scene stories, including Anime Midwest sharing a space at the porn convention, Santa Fe Comic Con's social media meltdown, and Anime Expo is now requiring background checks. All this along with your mail.
Exciting.
I, for one, am happy that our Nerd and Tie Expo ads are being done by the People's Republic of China now, apparently.
Like,
You try to come up with a new way to say that every episode.
Not work, Trey. All right. Well, welcome to Nerd and Tie, the only podcast on the internet with a dress code. As always, I am one of your hosts, Professor Fur Stirs, and with me is the very tasty Trey Dorn.
Hello.
And the extremely sweet Nick Izumi.
Well, Kirei. Anyway.
How's everybody doing? This is a new fortnight. Glad to be here. We're now getting into that time of the year where we don't really need a whole lot of backlighting because it's bright and sunny outside at this time of the day.
Lord. Like, this is not a white wall behind me. Like, when people look at me in the off week and things like that, that's not a white wall behind me. That is a window with the shades closed.
It's bright out there.
That window that's there in most episodes and by the end of the episode, I'm pretty sure you'll see it. But right now, it looks like I've got like a white background.
I'm just recovering from 3 50-hour work weeks in a row.
I'm just happy I'm not being
nice.
sued anymore.
Yeah,
that's
same.
Even better.
That's a good feeling. I'm all about that life.
Yeah.
Glad
we got a lot going on.
Victories.
Right? I'm 1-0 in the court of law. I'm excited about that. We got a lot to talk about this week. There's a lot going on in the world. Of course, we'd kind of be remiss if we didn't talk about the big story kind of in the nerd world right now. Is that 2 weeks ago, Captain America Civil War hit theaters. I guess last weekend, Friday, May 6th, it hit theaters. And guys, already it has hit $940 million worldwide.
Yeah, it's almost
just like the Captain himself. It's kicking all sorts of ass.
We don't need your Civil War.
It's insane because it opened to a massive opening. I don't have the numbers there in front of me, but just this last weekend, the second weekend it was out, it added $72.6 million domestically and $84.2 million internationally. So just this weekend alone, it raked in $156.8 million. But not only that, guys, the continued success of Captain America Civil War has pushed every single Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, the combined take of all of those movies thus far, $10 billion.
Yeah.
Heck
it's You know, the more I think about Civil War, and I love Civil War. We did a review special, on the off week, last episode of the off week. But ever notice that, like, isn't Civil War like, where you've got the all-American hero kind of on one side, and then the super rich superhero who's all about, like, trying to fight the destructive force of all of these superheroes. Is it just me, or is the narrative structure surprisingly behind the setup behind Batman versus Superman and Civil War surprisingly similar?
Oh no, we kind of saw that going in that it was going to be really similar. It's just that one handled it better.
Except Civil War actually executed it properly.
Well, that's because in Civil War the characters had a reason to fight, and it wasn't they were being forced to fight by awkward Jesse Eisenberg to the at the
red capes are
main
coming. The red capes are coming.
When the difference is that at the end of the day, when Cap and Iron Man throw down, it is because it is completely personal and you actually care and can feel every hit, as opposed to two characters who had no reason to even care about each other's existence up until 2 painful hours ago, just start fighting because some douchebag told them to.
Yeah. But holy cow, that's a lot of money. I bet Warner Brothers is just sitting there, like, some Warner Brothers execs are just, like, quietly weeping.
It was
How do they do it?
We were going to take Dark Knight Returns and Death of Superman and make it into one movie. Why do people not want that? Did they not like the little bits of Flashpoint we added for seasoning? I mean, come on, you guys.
Man.
To give you an idea of the other numbers that Captain America Civil War has surpassed, the domestic gross of $296 million has already surpassed the lifetime totals of Captain America, the first Avenger, which was only $177 million, Ant-Man, which did $180 million, Thor, $181 million, Thor: The Dark World, $206 million, and Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which news to me, only did $260 million.
Well, and
could have sworn it had done more than that.
To be fair, this was a much more expensive movie than all of those.
Mm-hmm.
It cost a lot more to make, so thank God. I mean, it's an Avengers
Robert Downey
film.
Jr. is not a cheap date. I mean, he is.
No, he is not. Well, I mean, while it's Captain America in the title, this was an Avengers movie. This was wholly an Avengers
sequel
movie.
we deserved.
Well, it was the Avengers sequel that was the right time in the story. Civil War doesn't happen without Age of Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
So,
no, I agree. I just don't really like one of them.
I like Age of Ultron for what it was. It's the bridging film in the middle. It's like it's very infrequently that bridging films are good. Usually the best bridging films are non-memorable because you remember the movie before it and the movie after it, and you're like, okay, I saw that.
Yeah, that's how I feel about every Thor movie that has existed. Like that, I'll be honest.
Thor. I love the first Thor movie so much.
They're good movies, but I'm not gonna be like, if I'm looking at if I look at the shelf of Avengers movies, I'm not gonna be like, oh, let's throw in Thor: The Dark World tonight. Like let's do that. Like
I'm done.
Trey out. Oh, but
okay.
Captain America: Civil War making all the money. We really aren't going to be doing a review here. But if you want a review of Civil War, check out the off week, the last episode, for Trey's thoughts on that.
I heard my name. I'm back.
But yeah, Captain America: Civil War doing very well for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
By God, we're going to use that superhero gulag. We paid good money for it. Anyway, so speaking of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not all is happy in this realm. In terms of kind of tragic, there's a joke that I really wanted to say about this, because we see a flashback to the graphic death of one of the main characters from the show I'm about to mention, and another one we knew that their funeral was coming from leaked production photos, which was really poor timing, because while Civil War is kicking all the ass at the box office, Agent Carter is not getting renewed by ABC.
No.
It has been canceled, despite a cliffhanger ending that season 2 left off on. What the balls?
Well, the ratings just weren't there this season.
Oh yeah, I know. The ratings were not there. It wasn't holding up well ratings-wise.
Narratively, I think it was great this last season. I loved it.
I still think it's a much better show than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I just think it's a stronger series.
I do agree that it's, like, I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but Agent Carter was the one I got excited to watch. Like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is that thing, oh, there's a new Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I watched that. Agent Carter was like, oh my God, there's going to be a new episode in 3 weeks. I'm super excited for that ahead of time. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
One
other
I'm
thing
happy to see when it's there. The other one I'm like anticipating.
The and that's just it too. Is that Agents of Shield's ratings haven't really been there either, but
They were better.
I mean, yeah, they
But
were
if
better.
if
they
they
were
do
better.
one more season, it'll be syndication length. So.
Yeah, and that's just it. They've already sunk so much into Agents of Shield, and honestly, like the ratings for, if you look at the ratings for Peggy Carter in season 1, like people were kind of shocked when it got renewed for that second season. I think Marvel really wanted to give it another chance, say like, okay, we've got enough money to give this show another season. Let's see what happens, and unfortunately, they just couldn't.
Yeah.
They couldn't bring those ratings up.
I will say I'm very disappointed that that also in that announcement that Agent Carter wasn't going to get a second season, it was announced that Most Wanted wasn't going to enter production. That's the spin-off with Lance Hunter and Bobby Morse characters who were written off of the show this season. And
Yeah,
I'm sure they can. I'm sure they're going to bring back at least Bobby Morse next series, because you don't get rid of one of the few superheroes you have the rights to use with Mockingbird. I'm sure that they'll be back next season on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it means that we lost the characters for like the back half of the season here.
And I'll admit, I actually wasn't that jazzed for Most Wanted. I just wasn't able to be. It just didn't seem that exciting. Part of me is, the most annoying part about this announcement is that they had that long, drawn-out Spies Goodbye that made what felt like went on for like 10 minutes of the last episode those two were in, and then it's like it's not even for their own spinoff. We just had a long extended goodbye for no reason now. For no reason. It felt like 10 straight minutes of sitting at people,
like
looking
2
at people
minutes
sitting
long.
at a bar crying.
It was fine. Shut up.
Season 3 has been terrible, Trey. I'm sorry.
Oh man, I
Season
totally
3
disagree.
of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been awful.
I've loved everything they've been doing with Hive.
I have not. They have retroactively killed Hydra. They have turned the Red Skull into a putz. They have turned the entire organization from something scary, aka fascists, because fascists are real, into people who worship Cthulhu. Because, I'm sorry, fascists are way scarier than Cthulhu worshippers, because here's the thing, fascists are real.
I disagree.
Welcome to regular town on this
show.
No,
I'm saying Cthulhu's real too.
Oh. I did not expect it to go that direction.
But
of course fascists are real. Jesus Christ.
But that's what I'm saying. I find Hydra, way it's described in Winter Soldier especially, to be way more scary, because they're just bad people because they truly, honestly believe that fascism is going to make the world a better place. But that's horrifying.
But it's also highly implied in that whole Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. storyline that while Hydra started out as that organization, that there have been many splinters of Hydra that have been taking it in different directions, including the Red Skulls, who had long abandoned worshipping the Inhuman and had taken Hydra's resources to his own means, that Hydra had gone off in more than one way. And that's really what I felt they were doing with that story. They were saying that, yes, this section of Hydra was doing all this while this other section of Hydra was doing that, and that gives us something to deconstruct that wasn't taken apart with Winter Soldier and the Avengers film. It's another corner of Hydra to go to.
I feel like the Hive thing has actually taken what was an interesting villain, i.e. Grant Ward, and now he's just...
honestly, Grant Ward, every episode that Grant Ward was alive, I kept going, why haven't they shot him in the head? It just kept going. It kept going.
I don't think he's better as an alien host. Why do you even still have him around?
I like the actor's performance as Hive a lot. I think it's really nuanced and interesting, and so there.
I think speaking with an aloof, superior voice isn't that interesting a performance, because that's what it is
happening.
To me. I'm aloof and superior.
And I love the way they worked with Lash and all that. I'm
You mean Rasta Hulk?
That's the way that's the way Lash looks in the comics.
I know, but I'm sticking by the name Rasta Hulk. Thank you.
That's
I'd like to thank
racist.
General Talbot. General Talbot said it before I did.
General Talbot's racist. No, I'm pretty confident that General Talbot is racist. I think they're playing him that way.
Maybe.
All right. So, while we've meandered quite a bit, let us move away
Justice was served.
from Nick's dissatisfaction with a perfectly good show
Civil War.
and move on to something we actually all agree on.
Yeah.
So, we actually stated several episodes ago that Supergirl had been renewed for season 2. Like the
Guess we
arrogant
spoke too
jackasses
soon
we
initially.
are.
When I think it was me that said they'd be stupid and not to renew it.
So what happened was that a while back, Les Moonves, the head of CBS, the head of CBS made comments that made it sound like Supergirl was getting renewed, and then nothing followed up. But what also, there were no official announcements were made, even though he made these statements that made it sound like it was getting renewed. Of course, what also happened after that was the ratings kind of fell. And Supergirl was super expensive for CBS to make because, you see, when the CW makes a superhero show, they're owned by Warner Brothers, so they don't have to pay certain licensing fees. CBS, not so much having that. And was paying massive licensing fees for the Supergirl character, and also combined with the fact that they were doing production in Los Angeles and not Vancouver, production numbers for Supergirl were at about $3 million an episode, which you have to get, which is not unreasonable for network television, but the ratings weren't there. Even though the ratings for Supergirl would have made it a smash hit on the CW, not so much great for CBS. And so the good news is that we were right in the sense that Supergirl has been renewed for season 2. The bit that was a little, well, it's been expected over the last couple of weeks, but we didn't know back then when we previously talked, is that Supergirl will be moving, both figuratively and literally, from CBS to the CW, the Warner Brothers owned but co-produced with CBS Entertainment TV network in which the rest of our superheroes live. And it will be physically moving from Los Angeles to Vancouver.
I was about to say, can't wait for National City to look a lot more like Vancouver.
So Central City and Star City.
Yeah, basically. That's why it's always dark in Star City, because nighttime Vancouver is drastically different from daytime Vancouver. They're going to have to move to a different part of Vancouver.
Well, to be fair, they've got
Don't worry,
some...
there will be USA Today booths all over the place, so you'll know it's still in the U.S., so don't worry.
To be
American.
To be fair, they've got partially CGI stock images of the exterior of Catco that they can still reuse from the CBS season. So they can reuse, like, any exterior shots from the previous season that don't involve people walking in front of the camera. It's just going to be, alleys a lot of the time.
Wow, the people of National City sure got a lot more polite. They say, "Hey, dear," a lot more. Wow, they're so well mannered now. It's weird how a year can change.
But I'm so like, okay, so I'm a little worried because there probably will be other budget cuts.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I'm a little worried about like how that might affect the storytelling because they might have to cut back on some of the cast because I'm sure Callista Flockhart ain't cheap.
Yeah, that, and have you watched the Atom Fly? It's pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, but I don't think there's a huge difference between Supergirl's flight and the Atom flying. Take a look at the Flash. It's whenever the Flash is running, it's not Grant Gustin.
Oh yeah, I know.
It doesn't matter how much of a close up it is in a fist fight. It doesn't it is CGI him, in every fight scene, and so I'm not too worried about it.
they've shown, like, honestly, they've shown that they can handle that kind of thing on the C.
It's probably actually the
Excuse me, on
same
the CW,
special effects team. I've dollars to donut. It's the same special effects guys doing
I wouldn't be
Supergirl.
surprised.
So they've got the library of stuff that they've built up over that first season.
I'm just I'm excited because what this means, at least to me, is that somebody that doesn't have network television, I don't have cable, I don't have any of that. I don't have CBS access or whatever the hell kind of thing it was.
Yeah,
like,
I can't wait for this to be on Hulu.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no chance this to be on Hulu or Netflix.
Yeah, that's the only
This is
broadcast
great.
network I get, so I'm not able to watch it on Hulu, though. And so, but here's the problem, is that since that Star Trek, it means I will only pay for CBS All Access while that Star Trek show has new episodes coming out. And then I'll
It'll
cancel
serve
my
them right,
subscription.
so they'll know that CBS All Access is a stupid idea.
Oh, God, oh, man, I am so happy that I won't have to do things to watch Supergirl. I mean, I get Supergirl over the air from just this room, and of course, this is the room I watch Supergirl in. I don't watch it on my big screen TV on the other side of my apartment through other means, not at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't know why you'd bring that up even. That's really weird, actually.
Anyway.
But yeah.
Oh, dear Lord.
Supergirl's flying to Vancouver, and she's flying coach.
But I don't know. It's especially with the way they ended season 1. I definitely want to find out who was in that pod. It does mean that we'll probably never see people out on the ground outside the DEO ever again. No, because it's in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're able to we will probably never see them go outside the DEO facility but around it again. Because you know what there's not what isn't physically around Vancouver?
Canadians. Shit.
The
No,
desert.
That's not it.
That's why the X-Files didn't hit the desert or the Southwest until after they moved filming to LA. That's why That's why they were never on a desert planet that looked realistic on Stargate. That's why the TV series. The DEO will always be indoors from now on.
Oh well.
Either that or suddenly the CGI shots of the DEO facility will start having pine trees around it.
Maybe that'll be their big that'll be Arrow's last season, or well, I shouldn't say Arrow's last season, but I mean with the they're going to be out of flashbacks for Arrow after next season. So maybe that can be their thing. It'll be their crisis of infinite networks, and then they'll be forced to consolidate the TV DC universe into one channel.
I just figured that Arrow would start flashing back to the first season. Well, but think about it. Consequences from his more violent turn as the Arrow starting to come back for the Green Arrow actually would make some interesting stories.
Yeah.
And then they could shoot new, and they don't even have to put him in a stupid wig anymore. Well, they haven't for the last season had to put him in a stupid wig, but I miss the wig.
I do too. I want to know how his hair got as long as it was at the beginning of the pilot, because that doesn't make any sense anymore. Also, when did he learn Russian and Chinese? Dear God, he has a year to learn Russian and Chinese at this point.
Doesn't he already know Chinese at this point?
Yes and no. I mean, Shadow kind of both First Mentor guy and Shadow kind of died before they got a
but then
chance
he
to
did the
really
stuff
sit down
he was doing missions for Argus before he was sent back to what's the name? Lian Yu. I wanted to say Lian Yu, but I almost said Nanda Parvat, and I'm like, no, that's the wrong place. That's where the League of Assassins are.
That's where Ra's al Ghul has his yearly barbecue.
The Nanda Parvat annual mixer.
Mm-hmm.
You're both
Deathstroke's not allowed there anymore. He's just too flatulent.
Dear Lord.
I hate both of you so much.
You love us.
Worst.
You love
I
us.
love you so much. I love you so much, but how far would that love go? Wait, that's a weird transition. Oh, we don't really have much of a transition for this next story, do we?
There's not really, no.
There really isn't.
There really isn't a proper way of transitioning into this next story.
There really isn't.
You got KY jelly in my peanut butter.
So, we've all been to conventions where the convention space has had to be shared with people. As you get into bigger other conventions, rather, as you get into bigger cities like Chicago or Milwaukee or Indianapolis, what have you, there may be other conventions taking place in the same space that you are currently located if you are attending a different convention. Well,
there'll be hunters or someone's having a wedding.
I was at a convention in Milwaukee. I was at a convention a couple years ago in Milwaukee, Anime Milwaukee. They had a convention called Pheasant Fest in the same space. It was great. It was awesome.
I remember that.
We loved Pheasant Fest. I was at MarsCon one year and got a bunch of selfies with a bunch of taxidermied animals because there's a taxidermy con in the same space. But I've never been quite to this situation. Of course, Anime Midwest, which takes place in Chicago at the Hyatt Regency O'Hare, is going to be sharing a convention space with a rather interesting convention group. Yes, this year Anime Midwest is sharing the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center with the Exxxotica, spelled with 3 X's, Expo, a touring convention for adult entertainment, billing itself as the largest adult event in the USA dedicated to love and sex.
Porn.
Anime Midwest is sharing space with a porn convention.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hurrah!
The good news is they're not sharing hotels. The Exxxotica's putting its people up in a different in one of the other hotels that surrounds the Donald E. Stevens, while Anime Midwest is in the Hyatt, which is connected to the Donald E. Stevens. And most of Anime Midwest is over in the Hyatt, but part of it is over in the Donald E. Stevens Center. Yeah, which is also where ASEN will be next weekend.
Now, Anime Midwest, the runner of Anime Midwest, has made a comment about sharing the space and seems to be quite willing to distance himself from said event. Exxxotica has taken that baton and running the other way with it. Yes, if you are attending Anime Midwest and you're like, hey, let's go to Exxxotica, you can get into Exxxotica at a discounted price by showing your Anime Midwest badge.
Yep.
And they're taking it one step further and planning adult-based anime events, including a cosplay contest and sexy anime seminars.
So they're going to be super disappointed when they find out like half of Anime Midwest attendees are under 18 and can't attend.
Anime conventions for your average attendees are under 18.
Actually, I say half is a huge exaggeration. I'd probably actually say more like a quarter. It's the target. Most anime convention attendees are college aged.
Okay, so, yeah, that's probably more fair.
It's just that we think of I think of them as all little kids because I'm in my 30s.
Right, but guys, Exxxotica. Okay, that's not a bad business plan from Exxxotica's standpoint, actually.
Okay, so
you know what? I'll be honest. I'd totally go. I'd be like, yeah, let's see what this is all about. Like, I'd be into that. Like, whatever.
Yeah, and I want to be clear that as much as we are not huge fans of Anime Midwest parent organization, AnimeCon.org, or its owner, Ryan Kopp, and not just because we just got out of a lawsuit with him. This was not his fault. I just want to be really clear. As much as this is not his fault. It's his, this is an event center which is, you often hosts it hosts Anime Central. Next weekend is going to be Anime Central. Anime Central is more than 3 times bigger than Anime Midwest. It uses up all the space. Anime Midwest is much smaller and only occupies a very small footprint in the Donald E. Stevens Center. And so, of course, the convention center is going to rent out the rest of the space, and Ryan Kopp and Anime Midwest have no control over who else the space gets rented to. So I want to be sure to make sure that no one is blaming. There are many things you can blame Ryan Kopp for. This is not one of them.
I don't think I haven't heard a single person complain about this though. Is the best part.
Well,
Like,
I think a lot of people are really excited about it because they're all thinking from the point of view of, hey, I'm over the age of 18. They're not thinking about the fact that this is actually kind of bad for Anime Midwest because people who with kids are not going to be as comfortable bringing their kids to the convention, knowing that there's like stuff bordering. There are people who aren't going to be comfortable letting their teenage kids go to this. There also, frankly, it's while I am 100% sure that every person working the Exxxotica Expo is a professional and takes their job seriously and are very good people. And I'm even sure 99% of the attendees of the Exxxotica Expo are going to be well-behaved and great. It's porn conventions in their attendees always attract a percentage of people who are super
have the
creepy.
wrong idea about what a porn convention is.
Right, and while a porn convention prepares for this with lots of security and is ready to handle that, I don't know if the volunteer-run security of an anime convention is necessarily ready for some of the situations that may occur. Especially when
it's a legitimate concern.
And so I'm very concerned, and I really hope that AnimeCon.org staff is taking the dangers seriously. Obviously, they're going to say they are, and they might be. They might not be. I don't know. As you know, we're not exactly tight with those guys. But if Anime Midwest staff does not take this seriously, the potential dangers. Then
Huge dangers, and I mean, you got to be, if you're Anime Midwest staff, you've got to be checking every badge. You've got to be observing everybody that crosses that convention space, because you can't have really ghosting at this convention. Now if you're at a convention of AnimeCon.org and there's nothing else going on, like whatever, it's gonna, it is what it is. But ghosters at this convention could be people from the porn convention coming over. And
I think it's also really important that I think there's also a potential problem that someone else pointed out to me. The Anime Midwest people might cause Anime Midwest attendees might cause problems for the porn convention.
Yeah.
Because these are people who aren't necessarily it's the titillated at the idea of what it is without necessarily being.
You said idea.
Without necessarily knowing how to act appropriately in these situations. So it's, again, I've never really understood attending a porn convention. Like, that to me is a little strange.
I don't know, man. Like, everybody has their hobbies. Like, I have a coworker that is close friends with several porn stars, and they discuss their work, and that's weird. And I'm friends with a couple.
But, do they do it in a public setting?
No, but I totally get
they do it at porn conventions.
I totally get the professionals. I totally get the professionals and people who work in the industry. It's the attendees who I don't necessarily get. It's first off, we've got this thing called the internet. If you can order whatever you need without. But it's just like I don't understand people who say watch porn with their friends. I don't get those people. There are things that I don't want. There are things that I don't want either one of you anywhere within 100 miles of me when I'm thinking about. I don't want to be in the same room with you for damn sure.
Now, okay, so you talk about the attendees of porn conventions. Yeah, 99% are going to attend. There are rules at these conventions. It's like going to going into anything involving sex workers. I have a friend that's a DJ at a strip club, and he says that everybody that goes in is super well behaved, and if anybody steps a toe out of line, you know what happens? The bouncer kicks them out. So.
And I guess my concern is not about inside the porn convention. It's people who are outside the porn convention. Well, first off, the people from the porn convention might also be assuming that certain people are over a certain age who aren't.
That's fair.
And so I think that there are, I don't know, it's just, it may end up being totally fine. My fears may end up being baseless. And, for everybody's sake, I hope everything's fine. But I can't help but be worried Like, it's especially when it's not exactly two crowds that you usually put in the same building at the same time. I mean, there are actually, it's, the funny thing is that this is not the thing I'd be most worried about, but
I hope that the best situation happens. The best situation in this case is like little to no incidents, and people from Anime Midwest that are of age decide I'm gonna go check out this porn convention, and they're gonna have a good time like that. Like
I hope the porn convention is very successful and nobody shows up to Anime Midwest. But
I hope a bunch of people from Anime Midwest end up going to the porn convention instead. Honestly,
I'm just taken back to the years when DaishoCon was still sharing its con space with a tilted kilt, and how often people would ask the waitresses at the tilted kilt what they're cosplaying from, and how many, like, I swear to God, there are tons of DaishoCon, like, picture galleries where in their cosplayer sections, they have pictures of the tilted kilt waitresses, and they don't even know.
They had pretty good food, yo. Like, I really liked the cheeseburger that I got there that one year that I was at
never went
Daisho.
in there.
I didn't even know what it was until I went in there. Like, I was like young and naive and stupid, and I didn't really know what it was. Like, I had no idea what the tilted kilt was, and I went in there and we were like, oh, okay. So
I was just disappointed it wasn't male waiters, because I think that would have been more appropriate with the name.
Right. I saw a lot of the voice actors one like from Daishokan that they would bring in. They were hanging out there a lot too. It was a good atmosphere.
All right, so while the PR might not, let's go back to this thing. While the PR situation might not be great for Anime Midwest, it, at least in this case, was not their own doing. And they've handled everything actually surprisingly well. Even Ryan Koff's official response to this has been handled very well. You know who hasn't been handling their social media or public relations well? Santa Fe Comic-Con.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. Okay, so, oh my God, where do I even start with this thing? So Santa Fe Comic-Con is a convention in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It is, I think, either their third or fourth year this year, and their organizer, who has confirmed that he is the only person who writes things on their social media, the owner, and he also runs Albuquerque Comic-Con, he made a post on his Facebook page. The post was a faux conversation, a fake conversation between a cosplayer and himself, in which the post, which is, you know, I'll read it to you.
This still drives me nuts.
Dear Santa Fe Comic-Con, I'm a cosplayer from the Midwest with 20,000 likes on Facebook. Would you fly me out, put me in a hotel, and give me a table and per diem? ? So in other words, the supposed cosplayer is asking for a table. Santa Fe Comic-Con. Sorry, we don't pay to bring on cosplayers. We like to develop our own local talent. I can give you a table if you will market us on your site and sell $200 worth of tickets for us. Cosplayer. How am I supposed to make any money if I have to pay all my own expenses? Santa Fe Comic-Con. Are we family or something? Most people went, what the hell is going on? Because this, weird... it's
really insane.
Now, some people took offense because obviously he's mocking the cosplayer for asking to be a guest, and it's a situation where that's not too, like, it looked like a guest solicit, standard guest solicit. Anybody who runs a convention is gonna get a ton of emails every year from people soliciting to be guests. Some are good fits, some are bad fits, some are not famous enough, some are, you know, but you get a lot of them, and we live in a world now with professional cosplayers, and so, you know, they're in the category. And it's super weird. Now, people, of course, were critical of this, and he went on to make bizarre, hateful comments criticizing professional cosplayers, like talking about, you know, quote unquote professional hot chicks, and how it's not like, and, you know, and referred to cosplayers as quote unquote boob models, and like all of the stuff. And It was this bizarre, resentful bullshit, and he has
Who hurt him?
Right? Well, and I listened to an interview he did for another site, and it's like he was talking, it was just like his attempt to justify it was that he had gotten a bunch of different cosplayers asking to be guests, and then he says he's not being misogynistic, but then talks about how he's like trying to, like, how cosplayers don't deserve to be guests, like, just for, like, it's weird pseudo misogynistic weird stuff, but he's so oblivious, like, while saying he's not misogynistic at the same time. So it's so bizarre. Yeah, he talked to Monkey Fighting Robots about this, and it's like, as far as I can tell, that it was just a cosplayer soliciting to be a guest. He said, no, but this is what I would offer. I won't fly you out here, but if you sell tickets for me, I'll give you a table. And the cosplayer said, how am I supposed, and apparently he's like, well, they all say, like, how am I supposed to be on it? Right, because
it's their job.
They asked for something, you said no, and then you made a counter offer, and they said, nope, I'm sorry, I can't, like, that doesn't work for me, because it's an insulting counter offer. It's not I'll pay for half of what you asked for. It's I'll pay for nothing that you're asking for and make you work for your table. It's not like I can give you a free table. No, so he's like complains about how they're being snarky, but I'm like, you just like told a person who was asking for these things, no, but you can pay me or you can work for me instead. Like, it's fine to say no. Like, not every person who asks to be a guest is a good fit for the convention. It's frankly, I think a lot of this comes from the fact that it's a cosplayer guest asking to be a guest at a comic convention. And the comic convention, and I think it's really important to understand, there is, while to a lot of attendees it looks like there's, like, this is all the same scene from at least a staffing point of view, there's a split in the convention culture. Between anime cons, comic cons, and even science fiction. Like, they're kind of different categories of stuff. And while a anime convention will often bring in cosplayer guests and give them literally everything that cosplayer asked for, like, it's not like, if they're a big enough name, like, that's the agreement, that's what you do. Like, you'd pay for travel and housing and food, and sometimes you give them a table. Like, those are all literally normal things that a full guest would get. But like, I was actually arguing with a guy who has done work for DC Comics. I was talking about only, like, the biggest comic names and on-air talent will get that kind of deal from a convention, and I'm just going, like, not in my world.
No.
Like,
I'll say, wow.
like that's not in my world. In my world, that's normal for someone. Like, you don't bring a lot of people. Well, also, though, that's why the kind of cons to bring that only bring in, like, 5 guests versus 30. And so I think that there's a cultural divide sitting in here too. It's this weird archaic, and the fact that the guy behind Santa Fe Comic-Con thought this was a good idea to make a post insulting professional cosplayers. Effectively, his whole point was that professional cosplayers don't deserve to be guests. Like, he's tried to justify it 5 other ways, but that's the only way this ever reads when he actually, like, sits down and explains it. Like, he talks about this in the interview we did on Monkey Fighting Robots about how, like, effectively, if he's justifying why cosplayers don't deserve to be guests. And you know what? If they're not attracting the audience that your con wants, then they shouldn't be a guest at your con. But the fact is, there is an audience that follows these people. And there is an audience that these people can attract, and if they're a big enough name, and, you know, like, if it's outside of your budget, or if that's not the audience you want to attract, that is perfectly fine to say no, but don't insult people in negotiations, first off. He doesn't even realize that he was being insulting. Like, well, that, you know, like, oh, or you can sell tickets for me, and I'll give you a table. Like, that's not what they were talking about.
At least give them a badge in a hotel room. Jeez.
Right. Well, it's like, or just say no. Like, that's the whole thing.
Or
It's
just say
like,
no.
Like, it's if I go to buy a car, or say someone comes to me and say, I have a car, I want to sell you my car. And I say, or I can just take the car and you can run some errands for me. They're going to be insulted. You can just say, no, I don't want to buy your car. And then you don't get a reaction of, my God, you're a dick. Like, this guy's just so tone deaf. Oh, and my favorite part is the day after he deletes this, he decided to continue his streak of great PR by, when announcing Amy Jo Johnson, for completely unrelated reasons, canceled her appearance. Like, it's some people have tried to cast this, and it's the Fallout. No, this is not Fallout. This is, as a person who has seen what happens with guests, and when cons get bad PR, usually the guests, because they're under contract or not under contract or what, all that stuff, like they don't pay attention to this shit unless there's an extreme circumstance. Amy Jo Johnson canceled her appearance. In his announcement of announcing the cancellation, this guy, the Santa Fe Comic-Con organizer, included a screenshot of the email, which included the email address of Amy Jo Johnson's agent.
Gross.
Like, and he has now deleted that too, but, like, is this guy,
damage
like,
is already done, dude?
Dude, you need... I know the guy's first name is Jim. I forget his last name, but Jim, you need to hire someone to take care of your social media and PR for you, because you should not be allowed to talk to people. Like,
First, you need a hug, buddy. Like, just somebody needs to give you a hug and say it's gonna be okay.
Like, don't make posts insulting categories of guests, even if you don't like them. Like, I understand. Like, there are people who are guests at cons sometimes, and I'm like, I don't understand why anybody would bring in a person like that. But you know what I don't do? Insult those people, because you know what? Maybe I don't know everything. Maybe there's a good reason to bring in that person. Maybe the people who like that person have really strong opinions about it. So I'm not going to be a dickhole and tell people that they're wrong to like something. Or, you know what I mean? Like,
by the way, Trey, thanks for not being a dickhole and saying that I shouldn't be appearing at half those conventions I was at.
like, I'm just saying, like, it's, you don't, like, where do you get off, like, insult, like, first off, as PR for your event, you don't just go around insulting categories of people. That's just... No one ever likes that. Well, no, 5 guys like that who get your back and like, yeah, you tell them. And then everyone's like, wow, what a bunch of fuckheads.
Sorry, family rating. Oh, well.
So that happened.
Anyways.
Good God.
You know,
that's definitely a how not to do things.
Well, yeah. Nor was my rant about it's safe for children. You know, it's important to think about the safety of children, Nick.
Yeah, it's funny you'd mention that, because next up we have a little bit talking about the safety of children and some ways of dealing with it that may or may not be the best ideas ever. Anime Expo is launching its a brand new youth protection policy, which is requiring exhibitors to submit to background checks, as in criminal background checks. Oh boy. So anyway, this is a Anime Expo's parent organization, the SPJA, launched their youth protection program, and according to their official announcement, they're partnering with the nonprofit Risk Management Center to create a safer environment for young attendees. And this safe environment involves submitting to having their exhibitors submit to criminal background checks. Now, the intentions behind this are definitely good.
Yeah, and I want to say there's a lot of good things in this program overall. Like, it's a lot of training resources, a lot of training resources for how to handle situations, and at least, and whether, while sometimes, maybe some of their policies are overzealous, overall they're building a framework and formalizing a framework for how certain situations will be dealt with, which instead of leaving it ambiguous and kind of up to everyone on their own, they're saying at our event, this is how you deal with it, period. And that is actually, like, whether it's convenient or not, for most of that stuff, it's actually pretty good. But the criminal background checks is a big deal.
That can be really hard. I mean, some of them are basic stuff. It depends on what are people getting flagged for. Like our article points out, like, if you have someone who's a sexual predator or something, yeah, you definitely don't want them in your attention space. But if, like, for example, they possessed a bag of weed like 10 years ago and that's going to get them flagged, that could be something minor, and it could disproportionately affect minorities.
Yeah, it's a diversity issue. And also, what do you do with foreign nationals who don't have social security numbers?
And spoilers, who's paying for this?
Yeah,
like, who's paying for these background checks?
You know, I was talking with someone who works for a vendor, and it seems like the vendors are having to pay for the background checks for their staff. Out of their own pocket.
And especially this being, from what I know about the vendor scene, this has been a pretty rough year for sales at conventions just in general. Again, election year, so sales...
It's not just election year, it's just the economy in general.
Yeah, the economy is just, not that great. Convention sales have been rough.
It's also getting to be an oversaturated market in some areas of the country, so shows that used to be more profitable are now... There's less money being spent at those shows because those same attendees are going to more conventions. It's... Yeah.
God, yeah, hell, it's harder on some of these vendors because, hell, Barnes & Noble has anime collectibles now. So, I mean, like, no, I'm serious. The kind of crap that you'd have to, like, go to a con to get is now, like, at your regular...
Well, you've been able to buy Pocky in Target for years.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Hello Panda is usually cheap, like super cheap at like Target and grocery stores around here.
I stopped buying Pocky at convention years ago because I can buy it at literally every grocery store in my town. If I really want it, it's right there.
But yeah, this is... I definitely think the intentions behind this are in the right place, but I don't think I feel like it's going to hurt a lot of vendors.
I think that if we were just doing background checks for, like, sexual predators and for basic things like that, like, for very specific, like, violent and crimes like that. I mean, besides the fact that, like, for most crimes, like, if a person's done their jail time and done, like, they have served their sentence, so there's actually kind of a recursive issue. But the fact is, a lot of sexual crimes don't have a strong enough punishment, so I understand and also there's such a high rate of repeat offenders that is definitely, like, you know, especially in the case of pedophilia and sexual assault with the high levels of repeat offense, I definitely understand filtering out, like, and doing background checks for that. But everything else, I don't know if it's necessarily beneficial, and if anything is discriminatory in some situations. And then secondly, the onus of putting it on the vendors to pay for this is so, like, these are not cheap. It's, you know, ironically, it's cheaper there are groups that let nonprofits do background checks for discounted rates. It's cheaper for the SPGA as a nonprofit to do their own background checks than it is for any of their for-profit vendors. So,
yeah.
Like, the fact is, if the SPJA wants background checks for every single vendor, I think that they should have to pay for it themselves. They should be the ones paying for this and not the vendors, especially since the vendors have already, at this point, committed to their table that this announcement is made after people have committed to vending at the event. These people are already now invested. By the way,
Expo tables, not cheap.
No, they're spending thousands of dollars.
Vendor tables already aren't cheap, but Expo... yeah, not cheap.
Vendors spend thousands of dollars for these expo tables. They've already spent that money for this year's event, and now it's being announced that they have to they have to pay for background checks for every single one of their employees. It's ridiculous, and the only reason they'll get away with it is because they are literally the largest anime convention in North America.
Yeah. And it sucks, but...
what do they say? What's the phrase? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Like
I guess so.
this is like it's great that they want to do this, that they want to make sure that everybody's safe, because we've seen things happen at conventions where, holy shit, why didn't this person have a background check? Or like we've seen that before.
AkioCon AkiCon, not Akio, AkiCon a few years ago, they had a guest who was a registered sex offender who assaulted another guest, a cosplay guest.
And then a few years ago at a Pokemon convention in the cities, I mean, there was a level 3 sex offender, child predator on staff, and so you get why.
Yeah, and that guy was also working for Metacon and Anime Minneapolis before we revealed it. And to AnimeCon.org's credit, they did fire the guy once we told them. Told them.
I mean, it's good that they want to do this, but there are a lot of issues to work through to make this a good program.
But let's also point out that those situations we just talked about, they were not the vendors.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is they were invited. I mean, they're going to do background checks on criminal background checks on the guests and staff as well, but obviously they don't have to be paid for by the vendor. You know, it's not like we're checking the attendees either. I don't think that this really makes anybody safer. I don't think this makes anyone safer that the because honestly, it's not like it's not going to happen in the vendor room. So how, like, it's if a person is there, the authority position I would be worried about from a staff point of view, yes, because staff has authority outside of, like, in the entire convention, there is an authority to a staff badge. So I totally understand running criminal background checks on your staff. I don't believe there's any benefit to doing it for the vendors, and if anything, is an irresponsible financial burden on some of the people who are already paying the most to be there anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Well said, Trey.
A lot to work out. All right.
I'm very articulate.
Well,
With
after all that, yeah.
Let's reach into the mailbag, huh?
There is so much in this mailbag.
We got a lot to get through.
This mailbag is so big. All right, so
that was really weird the way you said that, Trey. That was uncomfortable.
I'm
This
very
mailbag's
sorry.
so big. Oh.
Let's just all take a moment to, like, be less gross, so we can go read some poor person who wrote into us his letter, not knowing that I was going to do a weird joke like that, because then I remembered I'm reading the first letter, and
Good job,
it's
Trey.
the only letter not written by a dude, which makes me feel super creepy. So I would like to apologize to Mamma Mia, whose letter I'm about to read, because
you
I
screwed
didn't
that up, bud.
because I thought I was going to be creepy in front of, like, a Langland letter or something, and that's fine. But no, we're going to do this now, and I am sorry. I am so
You should be sorry.
sorry. All right,
Shame on you.
so Mamma Mia writes to us, subject Krypton. Hey nerds, long time, first time, you get it. I know your opinion on a show about Krypton, but just wanted to say that I would watch that show. Maybe it'll be terrible, but I've loved the hints of what Kryptonian society on Supergirl, and if the show is anywhere near as compelling as Kara, then I'm all for it. If it doesn't do anything new and it's just shiny militaristic America, then yeah, screw that. But if they can do something rarely seen and create a unique society on the planet, I would adore it. How did they know about Earth? How did they know about the yellow sun would give them powers? How is their biology different? How is their culture different? Just tell me all the facts. Anyway, just wanted to say my thoughts, maybe add something to the mailbag between the ongoing conversation between Shameless Otaku and Archimize. Bye, Mamma Mia. Okay, so... I'm gonna say, just frankly, you know what? You're right. If it was more about the Krypton we're seeing on Supergirl, that would be great. But it's David S. Goyer's behind it, and
Yeah.
it's not gonna
Big
be.
black dildos fly into space.
Look, if Berlanti was doing this, I could see it being interesting, but no. David S. Goyer, again, big black dildos flying into space. I'm sorry that this keeps getting weirdly sexual. I am so sorry.
Big black dildos are not our fault. That was the first 10 minutes of Man of Steel, okay? Not our fault.
So yeah, the Man of Steel Krypton is what we'd be getting with this show.
So thanks for writing us for the first and what I'm going to assume is the last
I'm
time.
so sorry.
So
Please write again.
I hope you enjoyed the last
sorry.
episode of Nerd and Tie that you're ever going to listen to.
Hey, Mamma Mia, do me this big favor. I want you to write in again, if only because I love saying your screen name. And if your name is actually Mamma Mia, that's even freaking cooler. Please come back.
Oh, God. Read us a Langland letter.
All right, let's do a Langland letter. Thank you for writing to us, Mamma Mia. Don't judge us based on
Please
that.
still listen to the show.
All right. Hey, this is from Langland, and the subject of this Captain America Civil War.
We don't
Langland
need
to us.
your Civil
Okay,
War.
I get it. Again with the Guns N' Roses. Right, that's enough.
Tell you every time before.
Didn't they?
Are you guys good? Are we good? Can I read the letter? All right.
What we have here is a
Okay,
failure
that's
to
enough,
communicate.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Hey, guys, it pleases me to hear you all laugh at that last podcast after reading my letter. I know I'm not usually funny, but I'm glad you found humor in my rant over the layout of No Brand Con. Anyways, I want to talk about Captain America Civil War. I really enjoyed the movie, and it built up to the hype. My favorite parts were with Spider-Man and Ant-Man. I won't spoil anything, because then you won't read this part. Just double check that there aren't any spoilers in this. Okay. I know Disney is definitely playing up the fact they have Star Wars and they show it. By the way, I'm on the side of the Avengers. That is all I will say. If you haven't seen the movie, go see it already. I saw it again at Siren, but this time I did something I never did before. Here comes a big shocker for all of you. I watched the movie with John F. Kennedy. No. I watched the movie with a girl. I took this female friend of mine who lives up in Two Harbors, and she was visiting her grandma, who lives in Spooner. I met her for the first time, and I took her to see the movie. You met the girl for the first time, or her grandma anyway. The best part is that I didn't scare her away, so I must have done something right with this cursed Asperger's or high-functioning autism I got. Good job, Langland. So yeah, that is all I got. Oh, wait, one more thing. There's a comic book convention in Rice Lake this month. Yeah, maybe I might write about that next time. From Langland.
Thanks for your dating life update, Langland.
Yep.
I mean,
I appreciate it. Thank you, Langland.
I hope everything works out for you. I don't know if I would have at any, like, I've been married for a while, but I don't know if at any point I would have ever written about my love life to a podcast. But
maybe you should try it. Maybe it'll strengthen your marriage. Maybe they're going to get married, Trey, and this will be the catalyst, and it will be the strongest marriage ever because he's wrote about it to us.
It's a blunt one, but it's a point.
I'm saying is your marriage isn't real until you write about it to a podcast, Trey.
You're the only non-married person on this podcast.
That's true.
He's got a sharp point there.
No, I don't care. Is it sharp enough to stab me through the sternum? Because that's what I'm looking for after that.
What are you talking of anyway?
Wait.
All right. Hey, speaking of ongoing,
you going to get a knife? Come at me, Trey. I can't
Who needs
see
a
him.
knife?
Come at me.
Dear God,
Yeah, come on,
is that a sword? Oh my God, why do you have a sword?
Because I was at one point an 18-year-old nerd.
I'll meet you in the pit, mother lover. Let's do it.
This is a ritual
See you at
sword. I would
ASEN
never hurt a
next
person
weekend,
with
you
this.
jerk.
I mean, I have swords too, but I don't keep them near my podcasting rig. Dear God, oh man. Anyway, let's look at what's next in the bag.
To be fair, this is stored behind my desk. It's just the only place I had to put it.
I don't see how that makes it better.
Well, no, because
anyway,
it wasn't like.
Let's continue.
Read the next letter.
Next one is from Arkham Eyes. Subject: Our shows are a changin'. Hello, nerds and ties. First off, congrats on your victory over censorship and harassment.
Woohoo!
Darn straight. One can hope a lesson was learned about solving your problems by being a better person rather than abusing the legal system. Don't worry, Arkham-Eyes, I'm sure it wasn't. I saw the news of the
At
great...
least it cost a lot of money to make that to end up losing, so...
I saw the news of the great TV show shifting with Supergirl going to the CW, which makes sense. Agent Carter and Most Wanted getting canceled. Meanwhile, Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, what the hell happened there?
What happened there?
I almost brought this up. So Sleepy Hollow got renewed, which is like
after a huge spoiler event that
after
most
a
shows...
finale that alienated the entire fan base. No one wanted this show to keep happening now, and it is. Even the people who liked it.
It'll still be happening.
All right, sorry, we'll go back to the letter.
Oh, dear God. I am bummed about the loss of the two Marvel shows, though they certainly have their hands full juggling all the movies, TV, and online shows. Do you see Agent Carter and Most Wanted possibly moving to Netflix in the future?
Definitely not Most Wanted. Definitely not Most Wanted.
Maybe Agent Carter.
There's a
if
petition.
They could even just do a movie about her, that'd be great.
At least to resolve the cliffhanger. There's a petition to bring Agent Carter to Netflix. I don't think it has that strong of a chance, but I would like to see it.
Maybe a TV movie? Could we get a TV movie?
That's kind of what I'm thinking, like a TV movie, just to wrap up that cliffhanger. That would be really neat.
Yeah.
I would like that.
The odds aren't good, but I would like it. Continue the letter reading.
We've seen it happen before though, where fans have gotten it, and it usually ends up well. So
no, we'll keep our hopes up.
Disney just made over almost $1 billion in the last 2 weeks. I think they can maybe afford to make a made-for-TV movie.
On another note, have you guys seen American Ultra? No.
Nope.
It's an okay movie as a whole, but I've got to say it was the first time I've ever seen Kristen Stewart act, like with emotions, range, and everything. Hopefully she can land more roles that let her do that rather than simply staring deeply with mouth agape.
Okay. I'm gonna interrupt the letter and say that I thoroughly enjoy Kristen Stewart's acting when she's in a good movie. The reason that she was terrible in Twilight is because Bella Swan's a terrible frickin' character.
I'm about to say that you can't fix a bad script and a bad director.
And then Snow White and the Huntsman didn't give her really anything to work with either.
No, I heard she was good on the road.
It was so bad. Snow White and the Huntsman sequel that she wanted nothing to do with it. She's like, I'm not. Like, she saw a bunch of different versions of that script and said, no, I'm not doing any of this.
Yeah, which is why her character is in there from behind as like her body double in one shot.
Well, I thought the selling point of both of those movies was one of the Avengers is in this.
No, with the first one it was Kristen Stewart because Twilight was the biggest shit in the universe for a few years.
That's true.
All right,
and look, now that people ignore it, it went away, just like I said it would. Anyway, more important question of the night. Do you each have an actor or actress who has been mostly panned due to one role or another, but had a major breakaway role where they showed just how much skill and talent they have? Ben Affleck is not allowed because he's always been awesome.
He's the bomb in Phantoms, yo.
Yeah, he is. Oh, gosh.
I have an answer for this immediately off the top of my head.
Okay, go for it.
Megan Fox. Megan Fox had a recurring role on New Girl this year where she was hilarious. And
really?
She was really good. She was really good on New Girl this season because there's a period of episodes where Zooey Deschanel couldn't appear because the actress was pregnant. And they could only shoot around it for so long with her character. And so while they gave her character jury duty and they brought in Megan Fox's character for a span of episodes. And Megan Fox was hilarious. And her acting was great. And the show, because the show's so well written and she was given a chance to actually do something as a character.
And not just be the hot chick.
Right. Well, and part of what they played with was that she was viewed as the the hot chick, but that show is with the female showrunner. They've been really good about breaking away from that whole thing, especially with like the other character Cece, who like and who used to be a model on the show and like all this other stuff. Like, she was actually Megan Fox is really funny on New Girl, and has really solid comedic chops. The problem is she keeps ending up in movies that are directed or produced by Michael Bay. And you know what? Honest to God, if I were her, those are big paychecks. Like, I'd be doing those movies too if I looked like Megan Fox and could get paid to do that. It's, but she has acting chops, and her role in New Girl really proved that to me. So that's my answer.
I kind of mentioned him before, but I'm going to say Hayden Christensen. Like, everyone, like, will pan Hayden Christensen up the back and forth, and of course I didn't bother to pull up some titles of other movies he's been in, but the fact of the matter is, you look at him in pretty much anything he's in other than episode 2 and episode 3, he's a stunning actor.
Natalie Portman looks terrible if you just judged her on her work in episode 2 and 3. Oh god,
yeah. But for some reason, Natalie Portman she salvaged her career.
It's because she started her career with a much better performance with her in Leon the Professional.
That's fair. Also, my Jean Reno love just comes out even more right now. But anyway, no, sorry. But yeah, no, Hayden Christensen, underrated actor. He rocks. Keep on kicking ass doing whatever you're doing right now.
Fur, do you have anyone?
I'm trying to think of actors that I've like. I don't know if he's been in a lot of like panned movies, but I really liked was it Owen Wilson in the Darjeeling Limited?
Yeah, Owen Wilson. He gets a lot of crap for being Ben Stiller's sidekick.
Yeah, he gets a lot of shit for that, but I really, really liked him in the Darjeeling Limited. It was a really good movie. It's a Wes Anderson movie.
He's good with Wes Anderson because he was really good in Life Aquatic as well.
So I think it just depends on it as an actor. Just depends on the script and the director. If you have a bad director, it doesn't matter what the script is going to be because
I think it's entirely dependent on the director.
It depends on the director, the script, the people you're working with. I don't know. I guess if I had to pick one, I'd say Owen Wilson because he's in a lot of good stuff that Wes Anderson's involved in. So I just can't really stand most of his other movies.
Well, believe it or not, that's more or less the end of the letter to us, but there's more to this letter, actually. Oh, sorry, that just my screen pushed away. But don't worry, here it is. Because Arkham says thanks Team Kitchen X Fortnite. He also says hello, Shameless. Sorry I missed your reply the other fortnight. It most likely got lost in the mail. I have a different question for you this evening. I know you have a vast collection of anime and other shows. How do you go about watching them all? I have got quite the backlog going myself, and I'm trying to figure out ways to get through them. Do you binge watch a series all the way through? Or do you work on a regular routine of 1 to 2 episodes per day? Have a good one, Shameless. Arkhamize.
We expect to see that answer next episode. Shameless Otaku.
Thank you, Arkhamize.
Good on, Shameless Otaku.
All right.
Take us on to our last letter.
Our last letter comes from the Random Ramblings Man, and the subject is playing catch up again. And Random Ramblings Man writes, hello, nerd with ties. Hope you're all doing all right and that your weather is more consistent than mine, good or otherwise. It's been cold in Eau Claire, Wisconsin we had snow on Saturday.
That's hilarious.
This turns out to be another novel. I apologize. Kind of dragged my feet on this one. First, the happy. The trailer for Rogue One looks great. The people whining about a female protagonist as opposed to anti-white agenda can go back and hide under their rocks for all I care. Ditto for the Godzilla Resurgence trailer. It's about time we get a Godzilla. It looks like it stepped straight out of the nuclear fire again. I saw Captain America Civil War this past Tuesday, And without turning this into a novel and spoiling too much, it was great fun with a surprisingly compelling story and struck a good balance between being a Captain America film and an Avengers-style outing. Also, Trey, in regards to your comment about the raft in the latest Off Week, I don't think Thunderbolt Ross cares too much about due process when it serves his interests.
We built that superhero gulag. We're going to use it, damn it.
Can I just say that let's not take any character development of the character from the comics. Let's just look at that character from his appearances in the Marvel films, and I don't know that we would have had any indications that the Ross we get in the movies would be anti-due process. I'm just saying.
He did zap a guy with untested super soldier serum so that he could punch a Hulk monster on a college campus, which was probably not a great plan. Also, he brought a bunch of tanks and crap to a college campus. Not a great plan.
I didn't say he was smart.
I'm saying his value.
You remember that movie way better than I do.
I was gonna say, I was trying to think of that scene. I'm
if
like,
you're gonna defend it based on what he does in the movie, then remember what he damn well does in the movie.
And now we move on to the sad, which means taking a trip appropriately to the DC Carnival of Sadness. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, also known as my first pick for worst film of the year.
Dawn of Justice
was certainly an underwhelming, mediocre film to behold. No structure whatsoever, unnecessary characters. Looking at you, Wonder Woman. Oh,
she was
really?
not unnecessary. She was necessary to making the film enjoyable at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's kind of like the okay thing in a pile of terrible. It's like, okay,
so plot-wise, she wasn't important. Plot-wise, but she was important for me enjoying any of that movie.
Yeah.
That's like being given a pile of garbage to eat and then finding a cold hot dog. It's like, well, it's better than the garbage, I guess. I mean,
no. It was like going through a pile of garbage and finding the one unopened food item that was perfectly sealed and was amazing, but you're still sitting in a pile of garbage.
She was okay, but she didn't save the movie for me.
Oh no, it doesn't save sitting in a pile of garbage if you find a piece of candy.
I mean, there was that and that weird part where the editor decided to put in that sequence of Batman punching from the Arkham games. That was really weird. I didn't know what that was doing in the movie, but it was way more enjoyable than the rest of the movie.
And wasted story opportunities, amongst other things. Despite having seen only one episode of Supergirl, I'm totally digging the tone of the show and the characters within. I'm sad CBS canceled the show, but happy that the CW picked it up. Who knows what could happen now? As for Krypton, all I can say about that is that David S. Goyer just needs to stop inflicting his terrible writing upon us. Hopefully the pilot will tank. Anyway, that's all for now. Peace out. Stay random and good fortune to you, my friends. Signed, The Random's Rambling Man.
Good fortune to you, good sir.
Give my regards to everybody.
And
especially Broadway.
Thank you.
Well,
thank you.
parts of Broadway.
Ramblings, man.
Most of Broadway.
So Trey, now's about the time where we do the Vomit Hat Steve challenge, right?
Yes.
Okay. During the episode, I was messaged by a member of the Minnesota Librarians over Facebook.
Can you send? Did they have an answer?
They do indeed have an answer. I don't know if it's right.
All right.
Should I just send it?
Ping it to me.
Ping it to you right now. It's
on
coming
Messenger.
along.
On Messenger.
Those Minnesota, they scare me.
It's terrifying.
Are they anything like the librarians from the TV show, The Librarians? Because
I love that show.
I'm just assume that they are.
I'm so happy that got renewed.
That they all have like superpowers. All of you.
All right, Trey, I just pinged it to you, so we might have an answer here.
God damn it.
Are they right?
They're right.
Oh, that's horrifying.
Oh, snap.
All right. It's okay. So we've been reading the same book for a couple of weeks. Let me explain what the Vomit at Steve challenge is. And I've got a quick, during the episode, come up with another book. I've got a, all right. You guys are going to look at the title card for a second here while I go find another book.
That's a majestic title card. Everyone
It's
should
so
look
great.
at that title
I'm
card.
just happy to be there. I'm I'm so excited to be.
We're
part
gonna
of
go fight Iron Man, damn
I
it!
have-
hate all of
I
you
have
so
friends.
much. Oh, I gotta find something.
it.
And the
I
look
got
on
it
my
during-
face is the realization hitting me that I just challenged Iron Man to a fight, which I don't
love
think
that-
is going to go nearly as well as it did for Chris Evans, because it's me.
I just love that that I got that answer during the show. Like,
I
they
hate you
messaged me.
all. All right.
I don't hate you, Minnesota librarians.
No, I love the Minnesota librarians. They
I
make
fear you.
and I want to appease you so that you don't like destroy my farmland or something.
All right.
Like,
So time for me to talk about the Vomit Head Steve Challenge. The Vomit Head Steve Challenge is the part in the show where I read part of a random book to you, and the challenge to you is to try to guess what book it is. If you guess what book it is, you get included in the Hall of Awesome. The benefits of the Hall of Awesome are as follows. You get your name read aloud every regular episode of the show, and we list your name on the website. That's it. It's just all for fun, and some of you are insanely good at it. So the current members of the Hall of Awesome are as follows: Archimai, Zero, Ren Innocenti, Cheesy McDamn, Krista, Slithery, Shameless Otaku, the Random Ramblings Man, Corfan, Capito, Chris Graham, Lilisaurus, Paper Godzilla, Cavsy, and the Minnesota Librarians, who have now
Times 3.
just guessed another book, because for the last several weeks I've been reading from a book. Corfan got super close last episode, where he guessed it was Timothy Zahn's Conqueror's Pride. But as the Minnesota Librarians during the episode have now accurately guessed, it is Conqueror's Legacy by Timothy Zahn, a different book in that same series.
Like, how?
I reiterate, how may I best appease you librarians
My
that you
God.
don't like destroy my farmland and make my cattle die?
Oh,
I
God.
just want.
Do they just, like, I just imagine, like, a group of them sitting around a table in a library in Minnesota, like, listening to the episode, and then, like, when that line gets read, they all, like, join hands and like, work it out together.
You people are amazing.
Yeah, it's not a regular Minnesota library. It's got like these ancient tile floors. Everything's lit by candles. And
they're all connected telepathically.
Yes.
All right.
It's terrifying.
So now I've got to go start a new book. And, yeah. So we're starting a new book right now. And so here is your new book that I just had to pick during this episode. So I haven't had time to, like, think if it was a good one or not to use. So hopefully, whatever. Here is your sentence. Freedom of the press? If you know what book that's from, go to nerdandtie.com. I'm making this one hard. Click on the contact form and tell us what you think it is. Or tell us your deepest, darkest thoughts. Tell us your secrets. Write letters to either Archimize or Shameless Otaku. Tell us your dreams.
Can the
your
Minnesota
fears.
librarians just write to us just to tell us that they're like a physical
I think they're the network, man.
So yeah, we just
and
wanna
Corfan,
appease you,
I'm really sorry
16.
you got.
I mean Minnesota librarians.
And Corfan, you got so close, but the Minnesota librarians got they guessed the right book. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, so just want to say before we end the episode, we're going to be at ASEN next weekend.
We are.
We're not doing a live episode, but all of us will be there. There is a Nerd and Tie Expo table going up.
You can pre-reg.
You can pre-reg for the show. You can, at any point in time, probably one of us will be there or will be in the vicinity because I'll also be at my artist table, which is like a row away. So I'll be bouncing between those two tables. Both Nick and Fur will be behind the Nerd and Tie Expo table at some point during the weekend. And
as well as other tables in the artist alley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm mostly going to be at the table.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be.
Oh,
Yes.
right. That's right. Are
Yeah,
you
Nick's
and Raina
not
aren't
doing
selling
double
it,
duty this
Jason,
show.
right?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm mostly just gonna be at the Nerd and Tie table.
Yeah.
Right on.
So yeah,
Cool.
you should. Yeah.
Check us out.
So
Come
let's
hang-
say
come
who
hang
we
out with
Check
were.
us.
us
Take a
out.
selfie
Come
with
see
us.
us in person.
Take a selfie with all three of us.
Yeah. But get us out of here.
All right. As always, for Nerd and Tie, I am Firsters.
I'm Trey Dorn.
And I will always be Nick Izumi.
We'll see y'all at ASEN. If not, we'll talk to you in a fortnight. Have a great fortnight, everybody.
Oh my.
And remember to subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, the Google Play Store, or on YouTube. Rate and review us. Give us a thumbs up and a like on YouTube and subscribe there, please. Like and subscribe. Subscribe to us on your favorite services. Be our friend. And remember, deep down in your heart, deep down in your soul, none of this was real. But all of it was meaningful. Dance party.